Section 31. You are listening at novelfull.audio. If you run into black turtles controlled by native players, you might be in for a fight. Taking down their black turtle, however, could net you some sweet rewards from their black turtle island. I put out a call, and the data spiked like crazy. Looks like people are keeping up with the latest chapters. That's a relief, so, time to crank out those updates. I figure I owe you guys like 7 or 8 more chapters. This one's for the 9,000 flowers, and more are coming. 0045 Black Turtle Evolution. Out on the open sea, the black turtle was hauling ass. 30 knots, that's hauling for a giant turtle. A nautical mile is about 1.85 kilometers, so we're talking nearly 60 kilometers per hour on land. The black turtle swam and swam, but after a full day, still no land in sight. Par for the course. The ocean's a big place, and finding an island isn't a walk in the park. Folks say you can wander for over 10 days before stumbling on a new place to stop. This was Lu Yun's 9th day in the black turtle world. Everyone bunked down for the night, while black turtle just kept on truckin'. Starry night, endless journey. Black turtles have a neat trick. At night, just point them in a direction, and they'll cruise along with their eyes closed. Those giant flippers keep paddling, never changing course, and it's not just full speed ahead. The black turtle can sleep and sail at the same time, no problem. To stay safe, it keeps its head tucked in its shell. Nighttime and danger, shell time. So, at night, all you see is a headless, giant shell chugging through the water. Lu Yun woke up this morning with a nagging feeling. Where'd black turtle wandered off to overnight? Blindly sailing without a map makes it tough to know where you are. That uncertainty sucked. A navigation map would be killer, Lu Yun thought. While the black turtle world is mostly ocean, it's dotted with giant islands and even a massive continent with tons of countries and creatures. Lu Yun didn't know exactly where he was, but he knew one thing: he'd been heading due east, which meant he was cruising away from the safe zone and into increasingly dangerous waters. Back at the resource island, he was surrounded by hundreds of people. Now, he was certain he was hundreds of nautical miles from anyone. The chat room was empty. That's how it worked, showed everyone within 100 nautical miles. If it was empty, nobody was around. He was the only one who'd left the safe zone and plunged into these dangerous waters. Day 9 in the novice zone. The fast movers were probably leaving the starting island to find new resources, but they wouldn't be as ballsy as Lu Yun, diving headfirst into danger. Sure, no new players from Tianlu Star were around, but that didn't mean he wouldn't meet the locals. The deeper he went, the higher the chances of running into Black Turtle Realm natives. Remembering the black turtle was just 2% away from evolving last night, he immediately told it to start slurping down that life water. The black turtle's massive head slowly stretched out from the shell. Snake-like heads appeared, hundreds of meters long. It turned around, put its head on its back, and dove into the spring of life, drinking deep. A message popped up: the black turtle's evolution hit 99%. Xian turtle was stuffed, but Lu Yun made it keep drinking. He didn't want to wait any longer. The black turtle had no choice. Chug, chug, chug. Finally, evolution level hit 100%. Congrats! Your black turtle's evolution is complete. Prepare for transformation. Then, Lu Yun watched as Xian turtle's whole body started changing big time. It grew like crazy, and the shell sprouted massive spikes. The black turtle's head was going wild, growing razor-sharp teeth. The long, fleshy neck changed too, sprouting bone armor for extra defense. And those 4 flippers. Massive changes there too. The whole black turtle was transforming, roaring like mad. Lu Yun was stunned. The noise was deafening. It woke up everyone on the turtle shell. They scrambled out of their huts to see what was going on. First update of the day. Hoping to crank out 7 or 8 today, depending on how it goes. Thanks for the flowers and votes. The book review section's buzzing too, but not showing up yet. Feilu's been like that lately. Even comments need approval. 0046 Amphibious, Basalt Turtle. Damn, what's happening? Why's the black turtle changing so much? Joseph King stared in disbelief at the spikes erupting from the shell. Kai-yi, dripping from the pool, asked Lu Yun softly, "Bro, what's up? Why's the black turtle roaring like that?" Lu Yun quickly explained, "It's evolving. It's in the middle of evolving now." He wondered what it would turn into and how it would change. The evolution lasted over 10 minutes, finally, another message, "Congrats. Your black turtle has evolved into a basalt turtle. Check the data panel for details." Lu Yun immediately checked the current stats: black turtle species, basalt turtle, shell size, 350m x 310m, sailing speed, 50 knots, build area, 310m x 270m, feeding rate, 0%, hunger rate, 0%, evolution rate, 0%, skill, land-water conversion, description. The basalt turtle is no longer limited to the ocean, it can now move on land. When moving on land, the fins will transform into elephant-like feet. Section 32. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Edited content. The black turtle evolved into a basalt turtle, gaining a powerful, four-limbed structure, allowing it to support its massive body and walk on land. Basalt turtles, also known as amphibious turtles, are primarily marine animals. While they can now venture onto land, their movement speed remains extremely slow. Compared to its earlier form, the basalt turtle is far more ferocious, boasting significantly enhanced defense capabilities. Its head, in particular, has transformed into a formidable weapon for actively hunting prey and attacking hostile targets upon command. Lu Yun was ecstatic about these changes. He'd learned in the chat room that black turtles couldn't move on land due to their fin-like limbs, which were incapable of supporting their weight. They could manage short distances, but anything longer was impossible. This limitation prevented players from exploring deep inland on large islands or continents. They were forced to abandon their black turtles on the shore, proceeding inland with their subordinates. For instance, Lu Yun's previous expedition to find the dragon-locking well required him to leave his black turtle behind. Now, his black turtle's newfound ability to crawl on land was a game-changer. Lu Yun preferred exploring the mainland to being stuck at sea. Riding a giant black turtle inland was far more appealing than aimlessly drifting in the ocean. Plus, the opportunities on land were undoubtedly greater. The basalt turtle also possessed some practical upgrades compared to regular black turtles. Ordinary black turtles were too docile to hunt for food independently and relied entirely on their owner's provision. Without food, they would simply starve. The basalt turtle, however, could hunt on its own and actively pursue prey. It would even attack enemy targets to protect its owner, showing greater initiative and aggression. This was a significant advantage over ordinary black turtles. Lu Yun instructed the black turtle to turn its head toward him. He noticed that the features on its head had indeed become more menacing, replacing its docile herbivorous nature. Its sharp, elongated teeth were now terrifying. Awesome! My black turtle is finally a predator. This evolution not only strengthened its body but also gave it potent combat abilities. Its size had also doubled, reaching an incredible scale. It dwarfed an aircraft carrier. While the largest aircraft carriers are over 300 meters long, they are only 70 or 80 meters wide. His black turtle was now over 300 meters long and wide, including its shell, despite being several times larger. It was also faster than an aircraft carrier. Aircraft carriers typically max out at 30 knots. His black turtle now hit 50 knots. That's blazing fast for a ship that size. Previously, the black turtle's top speed reached 30 knots. It seemed that it only grew its body and not its speed. The 20-knot increase was a welcome surprise. This speed would allow him to cross the sea even faster in the future, reaching new areas in less time. This is the second update today, and there are 2 more normal updates. The rest are just additions. Suddenly I owe a lot of chapters, and I feel a lot of pressure to update. 0047 Water Ghost Attack. Kai-E, Joseph Jean, and the new recruits watched the black turtle transform into a powerful force, and their faces lit up with excitement. The stronger the black turtle, the stronger the base it carried. After evolving, the black turtle roared. The sound echoed across the surrounding sea. Then, with a fresh look and exaggerated speed, it continued moving forward at full speed. The wind whipped against their faces. The speed was truly impressive. A few hours later, a prompt appeared in Lu Yun's mind. You are now far from the safe zone and are entering the most dangerous part of the new BC. Proceeding further will expose you to unexpected dangers. Newcomers are advised against taking such risks. Do you wish to continue into dangerous waters? Lu Yun was taken aback by the warning. Could it really be that dangerous? The system was issuing a serious alert. But if it's still in the novice zone, it can't be that bad, right? Otherwise, why would it be part of the starting area? He had to find out. He wanted to see what this dangerous sea area had in store. Keep going, you are choosing to proceed at your own risk and accept all consequences. The navigation rules remain the same. The further east you go, the more dangerous it becomes. However, risk and reward are intertwined. The greater the danger, the greater the potential gains. Lu Yun felt a spark of inspiration. Why was the system constantly emphasizing the danger to the east? Was this a hint? Could there be something hidden at the easternmost edge of the newbie zone? The more he considered it, the more convinced he became. A strong impulse overcame him. He would head due east and see what awaited at the end of the new BC. With 9 days left in the novice zone and 21 days remaining, plus his black turtle's impressive 50-knot speed, he should have enough time. He might even uncover a secret in the newbie zone that no one else knew. With this new goal in mind, Lu Yun steered the black turtle east, pushing forward without hesitation. Hours later, dusk began to fall. The setting sun was behind the black turtle. Lu Yun was hundreds of miles into the dangerous sea. So far, everything seemed normal. As far as the eye could see, there was nothing but water. Suddenly, a group of mechanics on the opposite side of the turtle's back screamed. Water ghosts! So many water ghosts! They're climbing onto the turtle's back. That the commotion caught everyone's attention. The militiamen responsible for security and guarding their homes rushed to the source of the sound, swords in hand. Lu Yun was shocked by the mechanics' terrified cries. Water ghosts! We're encountering those now. But he quickly hurried to the area under attack. Joseph King, brandishing a giant bronze axe, also arrived. Spotting Lu Yun, he shouted, "Master, we're under attack. Water ghosts are climbing onto the turtle's back. We don't know how many there are. Don't run off, I'll protect you." The giant bronze axe was a custom-made weapon he'd forged. Section 33. You are listening at novelfull.audio. He wasn't much of an archer. Battle axes were more his thing, but Lu Yun had been drinking from the life spring lately, which boosted his energy and strength. He was way tougher than before. He figured he could hold his own in a pinch. "Joseph Kin," he said, trying to sound confident, "I can handle some basic monsters. Go help out at the front." Joseph Kin was worried about Lu Yun's safety. Lu Yun was out here with no guards. Soldiers and mechanics could be replaced. But if anything happened to Lu Yun, it was game over. "Master," Joseph Kin protested, "these water ghouls are like ghosts, popping out of nowhere. You're completely exposed. I'm sticking with you, no way I'm leaving your side." Lu Yun didn't have the energy to argue. He just turned and ran toward the fighting. They had reached the site of the attack. A mechanic was on the ground, bleeding heavily from a nasty bite on his arm. Soldiers in bronze armor were battling a swarm of monsters, humanoid creatures with claws, dark blue, and so skinny it was like they were nothing but skin and bones. Their faces were twisted into something hideous and unsettling. It was a brutal fight, limbs and blood everywhere. Water ghouls are a common nuisance in the black turtle realm. They love climbing onto black turtles, which is a huge pain for city lords trying to get around the ocean. They move silently underwater, making them hard to spot. Plus, they can sense a black turtle's movements from a long way off. Those turtles are massive, so even their swimming creates a lot of wake. The ghouls get the turtle's direction, then wait ahead to ambush it. When the turtle gets close, they leap onto its back. Their claws are super sticky, so no matter how fast the turtle is going, they can stay latched onto the shell. Any city lord who sails these waters has to deal with them. Right now, Lu Yun's heavy infantry were locked in combat with a bunch of these ghouls. The heavy bronze swords they wielded were razor-sharp. Every swing could take a ghoul's head off or chop off a limb. Josephkin's swords were causing major damage, and even though the ghouls were everywhere, they couldn't stand up to the heavily armored infantry. They swarmed, biting at the armor, but their teeth couldn't get through. Their fingers scrabbled uselessly. They were unarmed and couldn't hurt the soldiers. The ground was already covered in ghoul corpses, arms and legs scattered all over, with dark blue blood everywhere. Lu Yun felt a surge of relief. His armored soldiers were tough. But all the blood was a lot for him to take in. He was from Earth, a country with peace and prosperity. He had never seen anything like this kind of brutal war with body parts everywhere. It was especially shocking to be right in the middle of it, watching the ghouls die. 20 heavily armored soldiers stood in a line, forming an impenetrable wall against the ghouls. They couldn't break through. Within 20 minutes, the battle turned into a massacre, leaving not a single ghoul alive. 20 soldiers against hundreds, with no casualties. The soldiers were awesome. Most of that success was thanks to their full-body armor. Without it, things could have gone very differently. Maybe his entire city would have been lost. Spending the money on the armor was a great call. Josephkin's skill in forging was also a factor. Only he could craft such high-quality bronze armor, light, flexible, and incredibly strong. This was Lu Yun's first real fight since arriving in the Black Turtle realm. He didn't expect to be attacked by so many ghouls right off the bat. Guess those warnings about the sea were real. This is crazy. So many ghouls right away. How's anyone supposed to survive this? Good thing it's me, someone who is ahead of the curve compared to other new arrivals. He shuddered. He couldn't underestimate the dangers of the sea. He needed to keep building his army and getting better gear. He glanced at the Konoha elf life tree in the distance. He wondered when it would start producing Konoha elves for him. He needed reinforcements to face the dangers ahead. Alright, clean up this mess. You guys, start washing the deck. Lu Yun gave the order, and everyone jumped to work. The soldiers started taking off their heavy armor and relaxing. The battle had worn them out. The turtle kept moving forward, never having stopped. The ghouls had boarded it while it was in motion. Water ghouls are no good for eating, so they are to be tossed into the sea. Lu Yun didn't gain anything from the battle. But on the bright side, he didn't lose anything, either. Lu Yun realized that he couldn't take the beginner areas for granted and had to continue developing armaments. The stronger the military strength, the better. At the same time, he also knew the importance of equipment. With powerful equipment, the soldier's combat effectiveness can be significantly enhanced. In addition, his own bronze heavy armored soldiers gave him strong confidence. The combat effectiveness of the soldiers at level 10, plus the continued strengthening with the Water of Life, is still quite strong. Section 34. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Powerful, no doubt. This idea gave Lu Yun a whole new perspective. Soldiers. They were worth more than just their weight in gold. He knew he'd made the right call by insisting on maxing out the militia camp to level 10, of course, the more, the merrier. That was the only way to be truly unstoppable. He immediately recruited 20 more militiamen and then had dozens of large buckets made. He filled each bucket with the Water of Life, letting the recruits soak in it to boost their strength. A level 10 soldier who'd been marinating in the Water of Life. Now that was an elite fighter. Lu Yun now commanded a force of 50 elite soldiers. Once Joseph Jean finished crafting 50 sets of bronze armor, he'd have a small, but formidable, fighting force, 50 guys who could take on 1,000. Maybe, with everyone pitching in, the bodies of the water ghouls were quickly tossed back into the sea. The dark blue blood that had splattered everywhere was scrubbed clean. The sun baked the black turtle's shell dry, leaving no trace of the earlier battle. The next morning, Lu Yun was up before the sun again. He was an early riser by nature. It marked the 10th day since he'd landed on Black Turtle Island. Lu Yun headed straight for the Konoha Elf Tree of Life. He wanted to see how it had grown overnight. The enormous Tree of Life was noticeably taller. Its canopy was gigantic, a lush, vibrant green, and vines, unlike anything he'd seen before, were sprouting from its branches. Just overnight, they'd grown incredibly long. Some hung down from the canopy, dangling more than 30 feet in the air, others coiled around the trunk. Where did all these vines come from? Just as Lu Yun was puzzling over it, the dwarf Joseph Jean approached. "Master, you're just in time," he exclaimed, his face beaming. "This tree of life is growing like crazy. I didn't think we'd see life vines so soon." "Really?" Lu Yun asked, intrigued. "You know a lot about this Konoha elf tree of life. Is it supposed to grow vines?" Joseph Jean nodded. "We dwarves are all about mining and forging. To find new veins, we often explore remote jungles. And of course, we know the elves who live in the forests." He continued, "The Konoha elf's tree of life is their mother tree. When it matures, it starts growing these life vines. They're the perfect material for making bowstrings." Lu Yun pounced on that. "You're saying these vines can be used to make bows?" Joseph Jean nodded enthusiastically. "Yep. The Konoha elves are natural-born archers. Where do you think their bows come from? They use branches from the mother tree for the bow itself and spin the vines into bowstrings. Both make for top-tier archery equipment. The bows are incredibly tough and powerful. That's why the Konoha elves are so deadly with a bow. They're using materials straight from the mother tree of life." Lu Yun was floored. How about that? But when he thought about it, maybe the reason the Konoha elves were such amazing archers was directly related to their mother tree being the perfect source for bows. If you could craft a divine bow from local materials, of course, you were going to produce a whole lot of marksmen. "So, you came out here this morning to gather materials and make a bow?" Lu Yun asked. Joseph Jean nodded excitedly. "Exactly, master. If we can crank out a ton of bows and arrows, you'll have an army of archers in no time." Lu Yun thought about it. He had a point. The mother tree of life would eventually birth more Konoha elves, naturally supplying him with the best archers, but it wasn't clear when that would happen. Better to arm a group of militiamen with bows and arrows now. He could fill the current gap in long-range firepower. That's it for the 12,000 flower bonus chapter. Should be another update later today. In the 10 days since the book was published, the first 9 days looked like a ghost town, not even one comment. That's enough. 5 days, not a single message. What's the reason? The book review section is completely dead. Who can handle playing single-player games every day? Fortunately, I managed to survive. 0050. The elf queen of Konoha is about to be born. With Lu Yun's permission, Joseph Jean grabbed his bronze battle axe, a sturdy and exquisitely crafted tool, and started climbing the tree. Surprisingly agile for a dwarf, he scurried up the trunk like a monkey, heading straight for the top. The mother tree of life was already close to 400 feet tall, so it was a terrifying climb. Looking up from the ground, Lu Yun could barely make out Joseph Jin's tiny figure. Just then, a new notification popped up. Detected. Attempt to harvest the life vines of the Konoha elf tree of life. These vines are crucial for the birth of the Konoha elf queen. Are you sure you wish to proceed? Lu Yun was stunned. Joseph Jean. Get down here, now. He shouted. Joseph Jean had already reached the canopy. He raised the giant bronze axe, ready to chop a vine. Hearing his master's shout, he paused, puzzled. Master, what's wrong? Lu Yun was furious. This guy had no idea what he was about to do. He almost ruined everything. Those newly grown vines were essential for the birth of the Konoha elf queen. If Joseph Jean chopped them down, the queen wouldn't be born, or she'd be damaged somehow. That would be a disaster. Don't touch those vines. Get down here, now. Lu Yun ordered sternly. Joseph Jean eyed the vines, clearly reluctant to give up on them, but he couldn't ignore his master's command, so he climbed back down. Looking dejected, Lu Yun sighed in relief when he saw that the vines were unharmed. When Joseph Jean was back on the ground, he said, Joseph Jean, if you have some time, maybe you could teach your forging techniques to the other smiths. That way, they can assist you, and you'll be much more efficient at crafting tools and weapons. Joseph Jean replied, Don't worry, master, I've already taught them a thing or two. Under my expert guidance, those knuckleheads have improved a lot. I guarantee they're better smiths than anyone else out there. Lu Yun nodded, pleased. but Joseph Jean was exaggerating a bit when he called the other smiths knuckleheads. After all, Lu Yun had upgraded them to level 10, craftsmen, like militiamen and laborers, got better at their specific skills with each level. A level 10 blacksmith was definitely a capable forger, but compared to Joseph Jean, the god of forging, they probably had a long way to go. Joseph Jean asked. Still puzzled, Master, why don't you want me to cut the life vines anymore? Don't you want to make bows and arrows? Lu Yun had to explain. Those vines are essential for the birth of the Konoha elves. This mother tree of life is going to give birth to a new Konoha elf. And the life vines you were about to chop are for the elf queen. Joseph Jin's eyes widened. He'd almost hacked the elf queen to death. If that had happened, his master would have been furious. He stuck out his tongue, scratched the back of his head, and wisely backed away. Master, I'm going to go build more bronze armor. You recruited 20 more militiamen. Still got a lot of sets to make. After that little hiccup, things went back to normal. The black turtle continued to sail across the sea. Everyone got up and started another busy day. In particular, they focused on producing standard wooden boards and standard ashlar stones. They worked overtime to crank out as many as possible. These were higher-tier resources than raw wood and stone. More advanced buildings would require these materials, so Lu Yun wanted to stock up on as many as possible. The smelting room was working overtime to produce bronze. Since they were still burning regular firewood, efficiency wasn't great. They were barely producing enough for Joseph Jin's forging. Section 35. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Can't keep things stocked. Josephine's forging still relies on firewood, and it's not very efficient. Joseph says if we could get our hands on coal mines or something, we could really ramp up our smelting and weapon forging, but where are we gonna find coal mines? We're out in the middle of nowhere, can't even find an island. Coal mines are definitely out of the question for now. Everyone's working around the clock on the turtle's back. Burning all that firewood is making a lot of smoke, so, the black turtle is barreling through the ocean, belching smoke like an old steam train or one of those antique smoke-spewing ships. Okay, 6th update today, and 15,000 flowers. All these flowers are giving me a headache. 0051 Sai's wish that it was high noon, sun blazing down. Lu Yun and Sai were chilling in the colorful spring. After soaking for days, Lu Yun realized the water of life wasn't boosting his vitality as much. The growth was tapering off compared to when he first jumped in. That's to be expected. It's just basic water of life. After all, the benefits can't just keep climbing forever. There's gotta be a limit. But Lu Yun wasn't there yet. His physique was still improving, just at a slower pace. The attribute panel says this spring can be upgraded. I wonder if that would give us stronger water of life. But how do you even upgrade it? Lu Yun was thinking about leveling up the spring so it could keep buffing him, but he didn't have a clue how to do it. Lu Yun and Sai had been spending all their time in the spring lately. It's made them a lot closer. They were getting comfortable with touching each other, not as shy as before. When you're around someone 24/7, you get used to it. Sai was hugging Lu Yun around the waist. Snuggling up, she sighed, it would be amazing if we could just stay here together forever. Lu Yun gave a wry smile. He wasn't a fish, he couldn't live in the water. He'd been spending all this time in the spring to boost his vitality and get stronger. He explained, Sai, I'm not a mermaid. Being in the water all the time is bad for you. This pool is filled with water of life, so it will be fine. If you change it, there will definitely be problems if I soak it in ordinary water for a long time. Sai's pretty face, so close to Lu Yun's chest, fell. Really? If I want to be with you all the time, I'll need to walk on land, right? Then I could always follow you around. Lu Yun was curious. Can mermaids get legs? Walk around like humans? Sai said, it's possible, but it's hard. She stood up, away from Lu Yun, looking him straight in the eye. She said, don't worry, I'll get legs as soon as I can. Then I can hang out with you on land. Lu Yun nodded, touched. Okay. He gently booped her nose. Don't push yourself too hard. But Sai was determined to do it fast. Big brother, she said softly, snuggling back into his arms. Lu Yun felt a wave of affection. If Sai could really grow legs and become more like a human, that would be something else. She was already a knockout, and that body, forget about it, if she turned into a real girl, the thought made his head spin. "Boss, we just spotted a resource island," a militiaman ran up. "Really?" Lu Yun got a jolt of excitement. "Another resource island? Definitely worth checking out. Being in these dangerous waters, the resources and opportunities should be better than in the safe zone." Lu Yun wasn't hurting for wood and stone right now, but the extra resources would help him make it through. He was really hoping they'd find some rare stuff, like coal. He wasn't planning on sticking around long, just hit the island, grab the good stuff, and get moving. He was still convinced there was a big secret waiting at the eastern edge of the New B zone. Everyone was stuck in the New B zone for a month. After that, they'd be shipped out to the normal ocean, where the veteran players were. And you couldn't come back. This was Lu Yun's one shot. Was there really a big secret at the end of the New B zone, or was he chasing a ghost? First chapter of the day. I'm aiming for the usual 4, plus a few extras. I was gonna drop more yesterday, but I got dragged out for drinks after dinner and didn't get home until 10, too buzzed to type. I'll try to crank out some more today, we'll see how it goes. 0052 Lesser Goblins. Lu Yun followed the militiaman to the edge of the turtle's shell, squinting southeast. Sure enough, there was a little dot of an island in the distance. Even a tiny island was worth exploring. Lu Yun steered the turtle toward it. The turtle turned and headed southeast. Soon, the island was just a few hundred yards away. Lu Yun's eyesight had gotten a serious upgrade thanks to the water of life. He could see the island pretty clearly. It was small, no more than 500 yards across, and there was a tribe living on it, tents in the middle, like some primitive village. A bunch of green little people were standing on the beach. When they saw the giant turtle heading straight for them, they started yelling and jumping around. Then they ran back to the tents, probably to tell their people. Section 36. You are listening at novelfull.audio. I spotted a ton of little green guys pouring out of those tents. The island was crawling with them. Lu Yun figured there had to be 4. Nah, more like 500. These green-skinned dudes were all short and scrawny, like human kids. They had all bunched up on the beach, facing my black turtle. These goblins were screaming, baring their teeth and claws, weapons in hand, looked like they were ready for a fight. That made me smile. I'd heard about these resource islands in the chat room. This was a classic goblin-infested resource island. These packed together green-skinned dwarves were definitely smelly, greedy goblins. These types of islands are low-level spots that rookie players often stumble upon. Low risk, easy to take, but that also means taking down a goblin tribe usually doesn't net you much in terms of resources. It's better than nothing, I guess. However, sometimes, if you wipe out a goblin tribe, you might get a building blueprint called a goblin camp. With that blueprint, you can build the goblin camp and recruit goblins. The problem is goblins are terrible fighters, plus, they're filthy and never bathe. They're also greedy, stingy, cowardly, selfish, and just all around unpleasant. So, not many Black Turtle City lords are eager to recruit hordes of goblins into their armies. Their only real advantage is they're dirt cheap to recruit. 5 kilos of food gets you a level 1 goblin, and you don't even have to provide housing. A tent can hold a ton of them. If there are no tents, they'll sleep on the ground. You can quickly amass a goblin horde and use them in a human wave attack for some combat capability, but if you're going for a human wave tactic, you're better off recruiting bone soldiers, skeletons. That is, skeletons don't have their own thoughts, they just follow orders. They're easier to control than goblins, and they're fearless in battle, charging headfirst into anything. Goblins, on the other hand, have a very distinct fighting style. They're total cowards who pick on the weak. If they're winning, goblins fight like maniacs, scrambling to be the first to kill. No fear of death. Every goblin goes berserk and bites like they're on something. They're afraid they'll be too late and miss the kill. Basically, if the fight's going their way, they'll go all out, but if things turn sour and their buddies start dropping, they'll hesitate and encourage others to go first, or even run for their lives. Yeah, goblins are a completely different animal depending on whether they're winning or losing. Too many variables. Skeletons. They're also low value and cheap to recruit, but once you get a skeleton army, they'll charge fearlessly into battle. On most battlefields, a skeleton army is way more effective than a goblin horde. That's why many Black Turtle City lords don't even bother with goblins. They'd rather build up a skeleton army. But goblins aren't entirely useless. They sometimes produce an extremely powerful individual, the bugbear, the goblin elite. this is the second chapter today, 0053 Elite Unit, Bugbear. Adult bugbears can get to be over 6.5 feet tall, their bodies are incredibly strong and thick. Like a bear, these creatures are super powerful, with tough skin, thick muscles, and amazing stamina. They don't lose steam even in long fights. Bugbears are amazing fighters and make excellent units. Every Xuanwu city lord wants one. How can such a powerful bugbear come from weak, small goblins? Turns out, whenever a group of goblins spots a female forest bear, they get super excited. They think they have a shot at improving their genes. They'll attack the female bear at all costs. Even if half the tribe dies, they'll keep suicidally attacking. Why? Because bugbears are born from female forest bears. They'll attack the female bear until she's knocked out. They don't kill her, though. When the female bear is exhausted, they tie her up and drag her back to the tribe. Next, something messed up happens. All the male goblins in the tribe, well, they take advantage of the female bear, making her pregnant, and then, the ultimate goblin fighter is born, the bugbear. Bugbears inherit all the advantages of forest bears, but they have goblin genes and some goblin features. They're loyal, honest, and dutiful, and they obey the orders of goblins much smaller than them. When a goblin tribe breeds a bugbear, their strength skyrockets. Whether it's hunting for food or fighting wars, they become way stronger. That's why goblins attack mother bears at all costs. Even though bugbears are good soldiers, they also are strong individual fighters. Well-bred bugbears can grow to over 10 feet, that's literally tons of explosive power, a complete destruction machine on the battlefield. But the odds of getting the bear goblin camp are super low. Some Black Turtle City lords have destroyed hundreds of goblin tribes, and never found the blueprint. I've come so far. I have no interest in goblins. He wanted the bear goblin camp, to build a massive amount of bear goblins to strengthen the army, but if he took down the goblin tribe in front of him, there was no way to say if the bear goblin camp would show. As the giant black turtle got closer to the island, the goblins on the island became more and more tense and agitated. Countless goblins were holding weapons on the beach opposite, shouting ah-oh. Dancing with ferocious expressions, they wanted to scare Lu Yun's black turtle away. I smiled. Taking out this weak goblin tribe would be easy. How could I turn back because of their pathetic shouting? Section 37. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The closer the black turtle got to the beach, the slower it moved. Lu Yun and his people gathered at the edge of the shell, watching the horde of green-skinned goblins on the beach. Lu Yun commanded, "Bronze armor soldiers, listen up. As soon as the turtle lands, hit the ground running. Wipe out every last goblin on this island." "Yes, sir." The soldiers replied with unwavering resolve. Their unified roar was deafening. Their confidence was sky-high after the victory against the water ghosts. With their full-body bronze armor, they were virtually untouchable. Taking out this bunch of weak goblins would be like slicing butter. Individually, these goblins were way weaker than the water ghosts. The only difference was that the goblins had weapons, while the water ghosts had none. Lu Yun then ordered, "Laborers and technicians, fall back. This fight's not for you, so stay out of it. Militia without bronze armor, stay put on the island and make sure no goblins sneak onto the turtle's back." "Yes, sir." They responded. The laborers and technicians began to retreat from the front lines. The black turtle was close enough to shore that the goblins started shooting arrows and throwing rocks at it like crazy. Their bows and arrows were primitive. Most of their shots missed the turtle completely. The few arrows that did hit barely had enough force to stick, but arrows were arrows, and they could still hurt those without armor. So Lu Yun pulled the laborers and technicians back to avoid unnecessary casualties. Coming up, 4 chapters will be better than today's releases. There will probably be more than 7 chapters. 005 The Black Turtle unleashed its power and dominated the battlefield. Basalt Rock Turtle, switch to land mode. Attack those goblins. Lu Yun commanded loudly. His black turtle now had the ability to attack, and these goblins couldn't even scratch its thick hide. This was the perfect opportunity for the black turtle to practice fighting. The more experience it got, the better it would become. The black turtle received the order and immediately responded. Its fins transformed into something else right before their eyes. They grew bigger and thicker, becoming colossal, pillar-like legs. Soon, four huge, elephantine legs were formed, it reached the shore and its limbs found firm footing, then, it let out a deafening roar, the massive turtle head slammed into the ground, it bit a group of goblins, killing over a dozen instantly. The black turtle's teeth had evolved into a carnivore's mouth full of sharp fangs, looking incredibly scary, with a few sickening crunches, countless goblins had their limbs torn apart. Holy crap! Nearby goblins were terrified, their eyes wide with shock. This huge black turtle was a monster. Weren't turtles supposed to be passive? This one was actively attacking. Plus, the black turtle was so enormous, it looked like a mountain. The psychological impact on the goblins was immense. Kill! Dozens of soldiers in bronze armor jumped down from the turtle's back and charged at the goblins. The goblins hacked uselessly at the black turtle's incredibly hard shell with their crude weapons. They fired arrows at the bronze-clad warriors. The arrows bounced harmlessly off with a ding, ding, ding. The goblins realized they were doomed. This was a complete mismatch, and there was nothing they could do. Some, fearing for their lives, started to flee. Others, refusing to give up, kept fighting. The black turtle's massive body, now covering half the sky, stomped onto the island. Its shell alone was over 1,100 feet long. The island wasn't much bigger than that. Its forelimbs, like giant pillars, crushed the goblins underfoot with every step, shaking the entire island. Countless goblins were pulverized. It was a massacre. The goblins realized that the end was upon them. They scattered in every direction like terrified animals. There was no resistance left. Lu Yun stood on the turtle's back, surveying the battlefield. The sight of the giant turtle dominating the battlefield filled Lu Yun with excitement. The turtle's sheer size and destructive power were incredible. But it would only be this aggressive against weak enemies. Against a powerful opponent, the black turtle wouldn't be sent into the fray, because while it's strong, it's also the black turtle city lord's greatest vulnerability. If the black turtle is killed, it's game over. In this world, black turtles are the top priority and must be protected. Many city lords have been assassinated by foes targeting their black turtle. During a real battle, the black turtle's head and limbs are usually retracted into its shell. This maximizes its defense, making it virtually indestructible. Exposing the head and limbs leaves it vulnerable to a fatal blow. Killing the black turtle wins the war. That's the most direct path to victory. Some goblins ran wildly towards the goblin village. After a period of crazy screaming, a huge monster emerged from a tent. It had a powerful, bear-like body, but it stood upright like a human. Its skin was green and hairless. This was the goblin tribe's most powerful warrior, the bugbear. Lu Yun's eyes lit up when he saw it. According to rumors, the bugbear camp blueprint only appeared in goblin villages. With bugbears, this meant this goblin village might yield the blueprint. If it dropped, he could mass-produce bugbears. Once he reached level 10 and cultivated them with the water of life, they'd become even stronger. Section 38. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Okay, so you can definitely see the combat capability of a single fighter. Here's chapter 4 for today. That's the guaranteed daily update, but there's more coming. 0055, Bugbear's combat power. Lu Yun was curious about the bugbear's fighting ability. He didn't immediately tell Joseph Jean to take it out with the sun-destroying dragon bow, but he was ready to give Joseph Jean instructions. Joseph Jean, see that huge bugbear? It's heading straight for our bronze hoplites. Get your sun-destroying dragon bow ready. When I tell you to, take it down. Joseph Jean had always been loyal to Lu Yun. He'd naturally become Lu Yun's personal bodyguard. Lu Yun didn't have any strong protectors, which worried Joseph Jean, so, protecting their leader was up to him. When he heard Lu Yun's order, Joseph Jean agreed immediately. He shouldered the sun-destroying dragon bow, notched an arrow, and aimed at the bugbear. The bugbear, a massive creature probably around 8 feet tall, charged the 3 bronze-armored warriors, swinging a terrifying mace. The hoplites had been hunting a small group of goblins. Sensing the bugbear's murderous rage, they stopped, faced it, and braced themselves. Bugbears were incredibly strong and huge, easily towering at 8 feet, up against Lu Yun's heavy infantry. They were just plain bigger. The 3 heavy infantrymen combined were probably only as big as one bugbear. The bugbear stood its ground, swung its mace, and targeted the 3 heavy infantrymen. the hoplites, intimidated by the bugbear's sheer force, knew they had to be careful. They raised their bronze swords to block the attack. Swords clashed with a loud clang. The bronze swords were swept aside. The first hoplite lost his weapon and went flying. The other two barely held onto their swords. Their arms were shaking, and their hands were numb. This bugbear's strength was insane. Seeing the weaponless hoplite, the bugbear pressed its advantage. It charged in wildly, mace raised high. The mace slammed into the hoplite's chest armor. With a flash of fire, the hoplite was thrown back 15 or 20 feet. Lu Yun, watching from the back of his turtle, was amazed by the bugbear's individual power. 3 heavy infantrymen were having a hard time with it. His heavy infantry were all transformed from level 10 militiamen, and they'd all been strengthened by the water of life. Their fighting ability was way better than normal soldiers. They were also equipped with full-body armor and elite gear, and still, 3 of these elite soldiers couldn't stop one bugbear's attack. After smashing the hoplite, the bugbear roared and charged after him, unstoppable. Lu Yun's eyesight was incredible. He saw the injured hoplite on the ground coughing up blood. The bronze armor on his chest was dented. His sternum was probably broken. The mace was covered in nasty nails. The hit had left holes in the armor. Those nails had pierced the armor and dug deep into the soldier's chest. He was seriously hurt. If the bugbear got to him again, he was dead. Lu Yun made a quick decision and ordered, "Joseph Jean, now. Take out that bugbear." Thought they'd tested the bugbear's combat ability, and it was legit. Time to shoot. Joseph Jean, hearing this, took aim with his bow. He fired. A crimson arrow shot through the sky, leaving a red streak. It was lightning fast, hitting its target instantly. It struck the bugbear's body. The bugbear glowed with red light. A second or two later, it was dead. It dropped on the spot without a sound. The other 2 heavy infantrymen rushed to help their injured comrade. They asked how badly he was hurt. He was too injured to answer. The rest was a one-sided slaughter. In less than half an hour of chasing across the island, almost all the goblins were wiped out. Some goblins, afraid of dying, tried to swim away. The soldiers didn't bother chasing them. They probably wouldn't survive in the open ocean anyway. Lu Yun climbed off the black turtle and started to clean up the battlefield. This is the extra update for getting 18,000 flowers, 0056. Looting the battlefield and getting the animal enclosure. Lu Yun went to check on the injured soldier first. One look told him that the hoplite was in bad shape. The soldier's injury was his fault. He'd wanted to test the bugbear's strength and hadn't taken out the threat immediately. That's what led to the injury. But battles change quickly. In the future, large scale fights, Lu Yun couldn't control every detail to protect everyone. Casualties were unavoidable. The reason he risked the soldier's injury was to test the bugbear. He felt he had a good chance of getting the bugbear camp. Others could break through hundreds of goblin camps and never get the bugbear camp blueprint, but Lu Yun had 100 times the critical hit rate, so his chances were high. So he had to test the bugbear's fighting ability first, then he could decide whether to train them on a large scale. The test showed that the bugbear was worth training in large numbers. Lu Yun gave the injured soldier a 9th grade healing potion. With the help of the potion, he should pull through. He'd probably have to stay in bed for a few days. Every experienced soldier was worth saving. A soldier who'd seen a lot of battles was much better than someone fresh out of the camp. He'd gotten 10 9th grade healing potions earlier. He gave one to the mermaid Sai. Section 39. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After swallowing another pill, he realized he only had 8 left. The war was escalating, and with more battles ahead, casualties were inevitable. Black Turtle City desperately needed skilled medics. Having them on hand could save countless wounded soldiers. He addressed the troops, "You fought with incredible bravery. But war always brings losses. This soldier was seriously injured defending Black Turtle City. As your city lord, I won't abandon anyone who bleeds for us. I've given him a potent healing medicine. He'll recover, so don't worry. Get him comfortable and take good care of him. He'll be back on his feet, fighting alongside you soon." Lu Yun's words fired up the troops. The city lord is wise. Wise. They cheered, seeing his encouragement take effect, boosting their spirits. Lu Yun couldn't help but smile. He never imagined he'd be the one giving pep talks. After the soldiers dispersed, Lu Yun, accompanied by his personal bodyguard, Joseph King, began scouring the battlefield. They would search the entire island, which wasn't that big, focusing on the goblin camp and leaving no stone unturned. Stepping inside the goblin camp, Lu Yun was immediately hit by a wave of stench. These goblins clearly weren't fans of hygiene, and they treated the place like a giant toilet. The camp was filled with countless tents, each one reeking. Searching this place was torture, but this was Lu Yun's first captured resource island with a camp. The island's resources were likely concentrated here, so he took it seriously, inspecting each tent meticulously. Tent after tent, Lu Yun found nothing but filth and clutter. He started to get confused. Hadn't the chat room mentioned something about a treasure chest appearing once the camp was secured and all threats were eliminated? Each camp was supposed to have its own chest, like a goblin camp treasure chest. He'd wiped out every goblin. Where was the treasure chest? Logically, nothing on this island should pose a threat to him anymore. Right? Still puzzled, Lu Yun pressed on. That's when a small animal pen in the goblin camp caught his eye. Rushing over, he saw it was full of rabbits. Who knew these greedy goblins raised rabbits? But what really grabbed his attention was a shiny, paper-like object in the corner. He picked it up. You obtained the blueprint for a simple animal pen. Use it. Lu Yun was ecstatic. Was this a game changer? A simple animal pen was obviously for raising livestock and poultry. This was a score. He immediately used it, envisioning a future in animal husbandry. Turning to his soldiers, Lu Yun ordered, round up all these rabbits. Don't kill them, I'm going to raise them. Yes, sir. The soldiers replied, carrying out the order immediately. Lu Yun, pleased with his first real find, eagerly continued his search. This is the 6th update today. 21,000 flowers get another update. There should be one more later. After the Goblin Island's rewards, a bigger plot will start. 0057 gold coins and nautical charts. Lu Yun continued his search, checking every goblin tent. Suddenly, a loud shout broke the silence. Jackpot! Found another one hiding. Everyone, over here. That's when it clicked for Lu Yun. That was why the goblin camp treasure box hadn't appeared yet. Some goblins were still holed up in a tent. He followed the sound to the largest tent in the goblin camp. Several soldiers in heavy bronze armor had already gathered outside. As Lu Yun entered, they made way for him. Inside, a carpet covered the floor. A goblin, much larger than the rest, sat on the carpet, wearing a feathered headdress and clutching a staff made of dead wood. A shaman goblin. This one was ancient, its face a web of wrinkles. It looked injured or sick, lying motionless on a bed. Seeing the shaman goblin, Lu Yun knew it. Every goblin tribe usually had a shaman goblin as its leader. Since he hadn't seen one before, he felt something was missing. Now the goblin tribe felt complete. The shaman goblin on the bed, though weakened, was still sharp. Seeing the heavy infantry and bronze armor part for the young man, it knew its leader had arrived. It pleaded with Lu Yun, City Lord of Black Turtle Island, have mercy on my age and sickness, please spare me. I have a bag of gold coins and a nautical map of this sea to offer you. It frantically pulled a large cloth bag from under the carpet. Nautical charts of the sea. Exactly what he needed. Lu Yun snatched the bag from the shaman goblin's grasp. It was heavy. It looked like it had a lot of gold coins. Lu Yun opened the bag, revealing a large piece of parchment on top of a pile of gold coins. The gold coins, yellow and gleaming, were dazzling. Lu Yun was stunned. Damn, this is a lot of gold coins. How did such a small goblin tribe amass so much wealth? Seeing Lu Yun's reaction, the shaman goblin added, these gold coins are our tribe's savings, collected over years. Please, City Lord, spare my life in exchange for them. Lu Yun asked, do you have anything else? Hand it all over. The shaman goblin replied quickly, nothing more. All the valuables are in this bag. Lu Yun nodded and ordered his soldiers, kill him. Then search the entire camp, inside and out. Yes, sir. A soldier obeyed instantly, raising a bronze sword. The goblin shaman's face contorted in terror, shouting, City Lord, you promised not to kill me. Lu Yun turned, his voice cold, did I? Ah. Blood splattered, you obtained the Goblin Camp treasure box. Check the warehouse. As the shaman goblin died, the prompt for obtaining the Goblin Camp treasure chest immediately appeared. You had to kill him to get this treasure chest, which is why Lu Yun insisted on killing him. If he lived, the reward from this treasure chest wouldn't drop. Lu Yun left the tent, opened the gold coin bag, and examined the contents. There were close to 200 gold coins. They were well crafted, each bearing a basalt pattern. Apparently, in the Black Turtle realm, even the gold coins had black tortoise imagery. Section 40. You are listening at novelfull.audio. I remember seeing them chatting about Black Turtle realm gold coins in the chat room. Apparently, it's the universal currency there and super useful. Down the road, we'll need it to hire soldiers and pay wages. Plus, if we want to trade with the locals, gold coins will be the way to go. Lu Yun was stoked to finally get his hands on some. He's planning to stash this first batch somewhere safe. After all, it's valuable stuff and will come in handy later. He unfolded the parchment, and sure enough, it was a map. There was a circle drawn in one corner, that marked our current island. Of course, the island is so tiny, it's not like the circle is to scale. The circle is just to show where we are. The rest of the map was mostly empty ocean, nothing to see there. There was just a continent way off to the east. Lu Yun figured that's where we're ultimately headed. Okay, that's the last update for today. Thanks for the flowers. Here's a bonus chapter, 0058 new unit unlocked. Goblin.Lu Yun led the troops to scour the entire island. We didn't find any new supplies in the goblin camp, but we did stumble upon a small pile of iron ore sitting out in the open on the beach. No idea why it was just sitting there, doesn't matter. We're hauling it back to the warehouse. Lu Yun ordered all the laborers from Xiangui Island to come over and start moving the ore. Once that's done, we're setting sail. Now that we have a map, our destination is clear. We have 15 days to reach that continent at the edge of the map in the newbie zone. Fingers crossed we make it, and once we get there, we'll need to spend some time exploring, see if there's any ultimate secret to be found. Lu Yun turned to Joseph King and asked, "Hey, old Joe, iron weapons are better than bronze, right?" Joseph King nodded immediately. "Definitely. So, now that we have iron ore, should we head back and make some better weapons?" Joseph King shook his head. "Not so fast, boss. Smelting iron isn't that simple. You can't really do it with just wood. You can't get it hot enough." Lu Yun was surprised. "Oh. What do we need then?" Joseph King said, "Coal. We need better fuel, coal." "Great," Lu Yun said, a little bummed. "Now we just need to find some coal." Lu Yun headed back to the turtle and went straight to the warehouse. He dumped the bag of gold coins inside. Suddenly, even more gold coins came pouring out. Final count, 17,500 gold coins. Almost 20,000 coins, piled up in a shimmering golden heap. Lu Yun was thrilled. Gold is the universal currency in the Black Turtle realm, good for buying just about anything. Of course, that's just for ordinary stuff. Forget about heaven rank or earth rank gear. You can't buy that with gold. Rumor has it, there are even higher grade treasures than heaven rank, earth rank, Xian rank and ordinary. I wonder what those are like. Lu Yun got a wooden chest and carefully stored all the gold coins inside. Then, he grabbed the Goblin Camp treasure chest we got earlier and cracked it open. You opened a Goblin Camp treasure chest and got, due to a mysterious surge of luck, your reward has been massively upgraded. You received the Goblin Camp Building Blueprint XL. You received the Bear Goblin Camp Building Blueprint 11. You received the Bear Goblin Hut Building Blueprint XL. You received the Watchtower Building Blueprint 11. Lu Yun was super pumped to get the Bear Goblin Camp, rating that Goblin Camp Island was totally worth it. Bear Goblins are going to be a seriously powerful unit early on. The Goblin tribe on that island was pretty small. Some of the bigger Goblin tribes have hundreds of thousands of goblins. Imagine a Goblin tsunami. Goblins are known for being prolific breeders. One of their main traits is how quickly they multiply. If we can breed bear goblins from a tiny tribe like that, and then level them up to 10, hit them with some water of life, and outfit them with full armor and weapons, it's going to be epic. And Lu Yun isn't just planning on breeding one. He's going to breed a whole bunch of them. Imagine unleashing a horde of bear goblins onto the battlefield. Total mayhem. Out of the 4 blueprints we got, the goblin camp is probably the least useful. It's just for recruiting regular goblins. Sure, they're cheap to recruit and don't need housing. As long as you have food, you can summon endless goblins, but goblins are ugly and have too many bad habits. Lu Yun's not a fan. He's not planning on recruiting them. The last blueprint, the watchtower, seems pretty useful. We can stick someone up there to keep an eye out, essential for early warning. Lu Yun opened the construction panel, selected the bear goblin camp, and got ready to build. Resources needed: 2,000 wood, 2,000 stone, 2,000 clay, 2,000 thatch, 2,000 food. That's crazy expensive. And why do we need food to build a building? Whatever. Luckily, Lu Yun's got plenty of resources. He placed the bear goblin camp. That's the first update for today. The book is coming out tomorrow. Please show your support and check it out. Those first day sales are super important. Good numbers will help the publishers promote the book, which means more people will see it, and this young author can keep writing. 0059 100,000 nautical miles. The bear goblin camp only takes 10 minutes to build, so Lu Yun stood around for 10 minutes. Your bear goblin camp is complete. A massive, primitive-style building erupts from the ground.